witches at black masses, evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah. Oh, Lord, yeah.
Oh, Dave! Let's go!
World stops turning, ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power, and as God has struck the hour. Oh, Lord, yeah.
National Signing Day, everybody. Welcome to the 2016 Lobo NLI show, where today we've got just a ton of guests, we've got a ton of people, and we got a ton of highlights for you. It's going to be a great show for the next couple of hours. We will be here talking about Lobo football and 21 new recruits for the program. It's going to be a fantastic day. We're going to have Blaze Fountain as a special guest later on in the show. He's one of the new recruits. He's already in school and enrolled here, one of our offensive linemen. We'll also have Coach Davey as well as several assistant coaches. And joining us will be Ced Bonner, analyst from Root Sports, who's broadcast many games for UNM over the past few years on Root Sports, and we're happy to have Ced join us as well. We want you to join us as well, and you can do that on social media. On Twitter, follow along at New Mexico Football, at New Mexico FB, or at UNM Lobos. And if you have a question and you want to get that question to us, hashtag LoboNLI. Again, hashtag LoboNLI. Get us that question. We'll get it on the air, and your question could be read over the air. Our first guest is going to be Josh Sternquist, the Director of Recruiting. We've got a lot coming to you. We got a lot of highlights. We've got a lot of recruit videos. Make sure you're following along on golobos.com. The whole list of recruits is already available there along with their videos. This is the 2016 Lobo NLI show. We'll be right back. Back here at the 2016 Lobo NLI show, and this is like Christmas Day for football fans as teams around the country are signing kids and getting recruits in, and the Lobos have 21 coming in, and a lot of really big names and a lot of really big guys, local kids. We got 4 coming in from New Mexico. It's going to be a great day. We're happy to announce them. Again, you can get the list already. It's on golobos.com. We've got a Signing Day Central page. You can get all the videos are up on YouTube. They're right there on the page. You've got links to bios, photos, everything in one spot. And if today is Christmas Day, then this guy right here is Santa Claus, and everything else, maybe a couple elves all rolled into one. Josh Sternquist is with us, the Director of Recruiting. Josh, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
This is a big day for you, obviously. This is kind of what your life is about, getting recruiting weekends and everything. Just how much fun is this day for you?
Well, you kind of took my line from me. I mean, this is Christmas Day. This is for me waking up in the morning, the presents are delivered, you're opening them up, and they're finally guys that I can talk about, our staff can talk about, we can talk about, and that's the most exciting thing because the process is so secretive and silent for so long. And then this day comes along, and it's just like, here we go. And it's for our class, we're very excited about it, and for us to be able to talk to our fans and the public about it, that's great.
I love coming to your office more than any other offices because you have the big board. When you go into Josh's office, he's got the big board, and it's got wide receivers and it's got classes, and you're sort of like a general manager in a way that you're looking at. We have position needs, but we also have class needs, and you balance that with the coaching staff and the head coach. Can you talk a little bit about how much you having to balance classes and things of that nature in a recruiting class?
That's the best part. I really enjoy that, and the part of the job is that working with Coach Despain and our coaching staff and Coach Davey to see graduation, eligibility, and then talking about where those holes are at, and then identifying those places. Now we're going to go look for the right guys, and then we filter those guys, and of course we come to today. But it's kind of it's like putting a piece of a puzzle together. You find these places where maybe guys are graduating, or you have a whole bunch of upperclassmen that are at running back, and now we have to get some young guys in the program to kind of see that puzzle and then find the pieces of that puzzle and put them in place. And then today, the puzzle's complete. That's kind of exciting. Gives me goosebumps. So.
And not only is it a complete puzzle, but it's an 85 scholarship complete puzzle. So there's no pieces missing, which is really
it's
important.
almost like there's 5 separate puzzles. And this is our class of 2016. That puzzle's now complete today. And you never know what will happen this spring. A couple guys might pop up, but as of today, we've signed our guys, and we're excited. And that puzzle is complete for the 16 class. So.
When Coach Davey came here, when he came here and started in 2012, he said, Albuquerque is unique, the University of New Mexico is unique. And there are a lot of unique things that you do in the recruiting process that makes UNM different from other schools. What are some of the things that you have to do during recruiting weekends, bringing kids in, stuff like that, that makes UNM unique and makes it stand out?
That's a great question because we only get 48 hours. That's tough. 2 days really to talk to a kid and experience everything this state and this city and this university and this program offers those kids. The first thing we try to do is get them right into the experience of Albuquerque. Right away, Coach Davey asks us to take these kids on a tour, see campus, and then we try to get a little unique thing in there. We take them to the top of the mountain, which is a great experience for us. And then of course the food and the different culture and stuff that we have. That's also a huge piece of it because at the end of the day, these young men are going to spend 4 or 5 years of their life here, and possibly 40 years after. They may graduate from here and then stay here for the rest of their lives. And for them to get as much about this culture and this great city and this great state, that's the most important thing. And I tell you, when those kids get on top of that tram at almost 11,000 feet, 10,000 square miles in all directions, that's a pretty good view of what you're looking at. So
we actually have a Twitter question here. Again, you can follow along, #LoboNLI, #LoboNLI. This is from @7Bert. How did this season's success play a role in recruiting? Obviously before, we were kind of selling, this is what we can be. Now we see what we can be, 7 wins, bowl game. How did that success help in recruiting this year?
It was tremendous. There's no doubt the success in winning plays a huge impact in recruiting. For years we've been talking about, the Coach Davey's program, the crystal ball, this is where we're going to get it. This is where it's going to be. And to finally have kind of the fruits of that labor shown on TV in a great bowl game here in New Mexico and the different successful games we had throughout the season, recruits see that. They see the winning, they see the success, they also see what our coaches and Coach Davey's telling them, and it's coming true. And I think that's an important piece. Coach is very honest. Our coaches are very honest. This is a very honest program, and I think we kind of cultivated this is what's going to happen. It's come true, and I think our fans, the recruits, and I think the whole nation has kind of seen that New Mexico is up. We're back. So.
Yeah. And the other thing too is when you talk about the successes and things and the things that coaches are talking about. The other thing that recruits see are the things behind us. We've got the mannequins, but we've got different jerseys now. It used to be New Mexico was you wear cherry at home, you wear white on the road, and you had one helmet. Now we've got 4 different helmets. We've got the different jerseys. We had a big jersey reveal. The guys loved it. Those things are important in recruiting in this day and age, aren't they?
Oh, I think we were voted in the top 10 in the country a couple weeks this season for best uniforms in the country. That's huge. I think the recruits right now are very excited about the helmet concepts and the different jerseys, and we've got our nice turquoise color, which is unique. Nobody in the country wears that. Nobody. No NFL team, no college. We're the only team, and for us, that's unique, and that's some of the things we're talking about. That this state, turquoise is a part of this state.
Right.
So I think we embrace where we are, we embrace who we are, and we go get these kids, and at the same time that we try to give them some nice gear, and Coach Davey and Coach Spain are always doing their best to get the best we can for this program and the kids.
Got about a minute left in this segment. Last piece is recruiting isn't just a UNM coach's deal. No. This is just from the professors, from the town. Talk a little bit about how much of a big deal it is with the professors coming in. It's a big recruiting weekend when it's a weekend.
It's a team effort, and that team just doesn't start and stop with Lobo football. It starts with the city, the community, our professors on campus. We have 6 or 7 professors every weekend that sit down with these students individually and talk to them about their majors and their future. And on top of that, the different vendors in town, whether it be hotel providers, the food services, Herrera buses. There's so many people that are part of this process that are outside the football program. They're outside the athletic department. So that's great, because that is not a common thing in every city. We are the only team in town, only team in the state, in my opinion. Don't get me in trouble. But that's what's so great about New Mexico is that the whole state embraces this team, and they're all Lobo fans, and we enjoy that, and we're excited for the future.
All right, Director of Recruiting Josh Sternquist. Josh, appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. We will be right back on the Lobo 2016 NLI show. We've got more coming up. Be right back.
I spent a lot of time this week just in history lessons with our team, talking about this state, talking about the Rio Grande River as we do each year, talking about the Zia, the significance of number 4, whether it's the seasons of the year, the periods of your life.
And I'm jealous of these guys today. The opportunity they have today to lace them up against their rivalry from down south is something that you never forget as a child or as a player.
The left single wide to the left on a 3rd and 5. Jordan running to the boundary side. Will start the option, turns it up. He's got a first down and more. He's loose across the 40 to the midfield stripe, and he has room. 1 minute to beat. He's got a downfield block. He'll turn it inside. Jordan is going to try to race to the pylon. Instead, he cuts it up the hedge, and he's in. Lamar Jordan has gone 60 yards. It's a Lobo touchdown. Donnie White, number 54, already calling for the Lobo faithful to stand up and get loud. For the quarterback, Rodgers hands it off to Rose, and Rose is barely fortunate to get it out of the end zone.
There's the 3rd, barely does.
Ball's out.
Ball's out. Touchdown, Lobo!
Touchdown yet? There it is. Richard McCorley did that all on his own. 6-yard touchdown for Rick.
Rolls left, stops, throws, and it's picked off. It's picked off, an interception. Rodgers keeps it. Oh, and he gets hit hard. First down after the 42-yard run. Look at Gibson. Gibson to the 10, 1 to beat, 5. Touchdown, New Mexico.
Welcome back to the 2016 Lobo NLI show here from the University of New Mexico in the beautiful Toe Diem facility. Again, you can follow along on social media at New Mexico FB, at UNM Lobos, and of course, hashtag Lobo NLI if you want to send in a question. The Lobo offense over the last few years has been pretty prolific. There's been 8 seasons of 5,000 yards or more, and 3 of them have come in the last 4 years, and the guy that runs that offense is offensive coordinator Bob DeVest. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
We obviously recruiting is a big day, and there's a lot going on, but it has to be fairly easy or easier to recruit to this type of offense where you've had so much success. Is it a little easier as the years have gone on recruiting to the offense?
Probably a little easier from the standpoint that we've developed an identity. The fact that because of our players we have had some success. And I think the biggest thing this year was obviously it transferred into team success, and the proof was in the pudding this year. And so I think it has gotten easier. It's also been easier for us as a staff as we've gone along and developed the offense to identify the type of players that we need, the type of players that we're looking for. So yeah, I think anything when you've been doing it as long as we have, and you have the continuity staff-wise offensively that we've had. I think that lends to everybody being on the same page from a recruiting standpoint.
And it's been running the football. Mm-hmm. It has always been for the first 3 years. It seemed like run the football, bread and butter. But you guys had some success passing. Never in the history of the university, I had to go back and look at this. Mm-hmm. Never in the history of the university had a team completed 3 80-yard passes in the same season. You had one guy do it, Delaney Hart Johnson. So, and he did it in 5 games. It's an unbelievable stat, but it shows to where the offense has evolved.
Right, where it's evolved and where we need to improve the most, but where we can improve the most. And it also speaks to the potential explosiveness of the offense. I think I went back and looked, and I think we led the Mountain West Conference in 50-yard passes or more, which you wouldn't think of New Mexico as doing that. We were top 10 in the country in average yards per completion. But again, that's an area we can get so much better. Sure. And that's one of the things that excites us about the future, not only because the kids we have on campus here that we recruited, but some of the kids we're bringing in.
Led the nation in explosive plays of 60 yards or more and 70 yards or more. Let's take a look at what we got coming back. Wide receivers we've got coming back. As we hop the card up there, you see Damian Gamlin, obviously the big man coming back with 424 yards. 3 red shirts in the receiving core, which is kind of nice, but 6 Letterman returning. Damian leads the way, but we talked about Delane Hart-Johnson. And then quarterback-wise, obviously the 2 main quarterbacks for this team last year were Lamar Jordan, as we see him highlighted there, and we also had Austin Apodaca. But you've got to like, recruiting-wise, you're just filling in some holes for the future because you've got a lot coming back here.
We do. We've got good experience coming back. We've got some kids that are a little bit unproven that we're really excited about to see what we have in spring ball. But I think one of the things we're doing, and one of the things we were able to do in this recruiting class, was recruit from a mentality and a makeup standpoint to the position, especially as far as quarterback is concerned, because it does take a little bit of a different guy to run what we do. We ask them to do a lot of things, and there's no question now that we've had 4 years here, this is who we are. This is who we're going to be. It's not going to change a whole lot. So there's a certain pool of kids that's attracted to an offense like this, and we're excited about what we got coming back, but as always excited about to see what the future holds.
Well, I mean, it's National Signing Day. We've done enough talking. Let's roll the highlights of the first 5 recruits that we've got coming in for the 2016 class. And we start out with Emmanuel Harris, wide receiver at Trinity Valley Community College. And what I noticed, Bob, about these receivers is they've all got great hands. They run great routes. You see a great diving catch there. What did you guys like in Emmanuel?
Well, Emmanuel, the first thing that stands out, number one, he came from a great program in Dallas in Skyline High School. He's an older kid, very mature kid, strong kid, solid kid for a slot back. You can see he's got good hands, like you said, and good speed. Really the thing that stands out, and I don't know that we have any highlights on it, is he's an unbelievable blocker, and takes tremendous pride in his blocking ability. And so really he's a physical kid. You'll see here a good run right there is a good example of his physicality right there. He loves to play the game. He's a positive kid, just lights the room up with his smile when he comes in. I think he's going to be great for the wide receiver room, if nothing else, just from a maturity standpoint and a toughness standpoint. So we are really excited that Emmanuel out of Trinity Valley Junior College has decided to jump on board with us, and I think we're going to be able to do a lot of things with him as well.
All right, next recruit, Jay Griffin IV, and I love it's Jay Griffin, that kind of Jay Griffin IV, but he is a guy, fits in that Carlos Wiggins mold, can do a lot of different things, maybe a returner as well, but you can do a lot of things. He's a multi-talented weapon.
I think he's magic. I think this, when it's all said, which was a big sell for us with him. But you can see here his returning abilities. Right here you see, looks like everybody's got an angle and he just runs right by him. Again, I think he is magic. I think we've got a chance to really get the ball in his hands in a number of different ways. Multi-talented, really good hands, lines up as a Wildcat quarterback sometimes. So this is one that, you know, it's a lot of fun as a coach just to try to be creative to find ways to get him the ball. Absolutely.
It showcases the successes that we've had consistently out of the state of Texas, but we've had some great successes out of New Mexico. And our first New Mexico recruit, local guy right here, in fact, my daughter's high school, Cleveland High School, Marcus Williams. A big target, 6'2". What'd you like in him?
Well, you know, we've seen Marcus for at least 2 years now in camp, and we've had our eye on him. We've been amazed at how he's grown into his body. The first time we saw him, he was just kind of a gangly kid trying to find his way, but he's developed into, you know, in the speed, but also the versatility maybe to be an inside or an outside guy.
Obviously the weight room will help him, but certainly has the frame to be
Absolutely.
A very good college receiver. 2 quarterbacks coming in on the roster, and a great program out of Las Cruces. You see the tab there at the end for Cameron Miller. This is a guy with 99 touchdowns rushing and passing. Just seems like a perfect fit.
He's a dual threat guy. He's a true dual threat guy. Again, a kid we had in camp that we were really impressed with 2 years in a row. I love the fact that he's a coach's son. I love the fact that he's won as much as he has. I love the fact that he's got grit. I kind of like his style a little bit too, you know. And again, I think he's a guy that there's enough video evidence to show that he can be a true dual threat. I think he throws it really well. I think he comes off the mesh, as you can see right there, with a good burst. He can make people miss. He's got good size, about 6'1", 190 pounds, and wants to be here. Wants to help the Lobo, you know, program to new levels. And I think he can help us do that in time. Really
fun getting 2 skill guys out of New Mexico too. I think, and we've had such a good success with those kinds of players. And last on the list, Tavaka Tuiati, and his highlight video is amazing. He's a quarterback.
I think he can be a quarterback. Again, we think he's got the threats, the skills as far as the dual threat is concerned. Fantastic kid, high IQ, not only in the classroom, but really a good football IQ as well. Won the state championship out there in California. Again, like Cameron, comes from a winning program, great family, great character. You can see he's got really good burst and really good speed as well. An all-round athlete that we need at that quarterback position to do what we do.
And congratulations on the success of this season. It's a theme. It'll be a theme throughout the entire show. Guys coming from winning programs.
Exactly.
Great players, winning programs. Bob, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Well, we have more with the 2016 Lobo NLI show right after this.
State the lead. Myers will keep it himself, and he is dragged out by Uday, and with that spot, he is short for this third down. Hands the ball off and nothing doing. Daniel Henry with the big tackle, and once again, it's 4-11. Jordan steps up, throws on the run, has a wide open Mark Johnson down the sideline. Mark Johnson, 180, and
From Anderson and the hand off, and Mays is tripped up in the backfield. Oh, Nick Diamonzo again! And you know what?
drops the snap, ball is loose.
New Mexico might have it.
And they do, the Lobos recover. Warren to match his career long, which he set earlier today, and give Utah State the lead. Warren's kick is on the way, and it's no good!
This is it, Dontrell. This is the win that the New Mexico football program is looking for.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2016 Lobo NLI show. It's Christmas Day for football programs all across America, and none more so than right here at the University of New Mexico. And it's now my pleasure to bring in, well, my dad's favorite coach. This is fantastic. Kevin Cosgrove, defensive coordinator. Thanks
Good to see you, Frank.
Thanks for being on the show.
Tell your dad I said hi.
I absolutely will. I want to remind everyone, social media, you can follow along at New Mexico FB and also at UNM Lobos, also hashtag Lobo NLI. We actually have a Twitter question here. This is from at Rob Elmo. I think that's how Rob Lamo, however you want to do that. But Coach, the defensive line got a big push in this class. What other spots do you feel we added to as far as playmakers are concerned in the defense?
Well, we felt we added depth to every position. We added a long, good safety with good length. We got a good corner. We got some speed at the outside in the rush position. And we got some big guys to play inside in the D line. So we added to where we needed the help.
Well, we're going to get right to the highlights here because we got 4 recruits coming in. Before we get to the highlights, let's take a look at what's coming back. First, on the defensive line, you can see Nick Diavanzo is probably the main returner. 6th Letterman back. You only lose 2. Bring in 3 red shirts, including a guy, Ewing Simmons, who did not play this year, who will be a nice addition for the program. 54 tackles that Nick Diavanzo had. 8.5 tackles for loss. Had a really good season. Of course, linebackers, it starts with Dakota Cox. It's always going to start with Dakota. Finally a senior. I mean, it seems like he's been here a long time. Could be one of the top 5 tackle guys in school history.
Yeah, his career's gone by too fast. I wish we had him a little bit longer.
Yeah, me too. 97 tackles last year. Could be the first guy in school history. You think of some of the great defensive players that have been here. Could be the first guy to ever lead the team in tackles 4 consecutive years. It's been a tremendous career for him.
He's a tremendous football player and a great kid.
Great kid, probably going to be a 3-time captain as well. Let's take a look at what we got for recruits. As we look at the highlights, first we'll go with the defensive line and Emmanuel Joseph. He was recruit number 21. Last one in, but certainly not the last on the list. Big defensive end, can rush the passer. What did you like in him?
Well, the biggest thing is you like his length and his athletic ability, as we do all our defensive players. But he's got a tremendous upside. He has good size, good length, and he's going to be a heck of a football player. His future's ahead of him.
A lot of your guys, especially on the defensive line, it seems, I don't know if this is your Midwest mentality, but you have a lot of guys who have wrestled in high school. And it seems like you have a lot of wrestlers and guys that know how to use their body, and it seems to really translate to the type of defense that you guys are playing.
I've been fortunate enough to be able to recruit a lot of defensive players who were wrestlers, and every single one of them were very good football players. So they understand leverage, they understand base and balance, and they're good.
That is a big deal. Again, another guy who can wrestle. He's a track guy, throws a shot put, discus. Big, strong, physical lineman. You got to like how he pursues being that big too.
Well, the thing about Najee, he is a tremendous football player. He was a highly recruited kid, and he has tremendous athletic ability for a big man, and he loves the game. So we're excited to have him.
Loves the game. I mean, again, a lot of pursuit. We're going to see it here in the next highlight, but I'm going to actually skip ahead where the highlight goes here. Teton Saltis, just a huge get for the University of New Mexico, a huge recruit. His highlight film is going to be coming up here in just a second. As you can see, Najee Flowers, number 50, right there. He just a beast. This is a long highlight film, but he just pursues and pursues. And I see it with Saltis, too. When we watch this highlight film of Teton, again, a tremendous get out of Valley High School, a guy who's only played football now for 2 seasons, but just the get-off that he has and the way he gets after the quarterback is amazing.
Tremendous athletic ability, tremendous first step, tremendous burst. He's a very good basketball player. We are very excited to have him, especially an in-state guy. We couldn't ask for anything more. He has position flexibility. He could be a down guy. We're looking at him as an outside linebacker or rush linebacker, so he could do a lot of things for us.
Kind of in that Donnie White mold, that position where Donnie kind of goes in sure-handed and stuff like that, but it's controlled. He's not out of control. It's something you got to really like.
Well, I like that term, the violence term, but certainly excited to have him.
Rashawn Epting, the last of our guys, Berkeley, Illinois guy, has also been in California. Really good athlete, 1,000-point scorer in basketball. He's a great two-way player, played running back, scored some touchdowns there, linebacker.
Played some quarterback.
What'd you like about him?
Well, I love his athletic ability. He's a long guy. He could run. played a tremendous basketball player. Scored 500 points each year, over 1,000 points, and is not playing this year. He hurt his knee a little bit. He's fine, but he's a guy that we're excited to have.
You look at all these highlights of these guys getting in there, and I could see how you can see these guys as the rush and just getting after the quarterback, and really got to like guys coming out of good programs that have a nose for the football. It fits into what you're trying to do on the defense. We sat here last year. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you and I sat here last year, and I mentioned that the defense shaved off 8 points from a year ago. I said, we got to do it again, and you did. And so it's been 16 points now from 2 years ago.
Well, we got to do it again, Frank.
Well, I'm going to throw it out there.
Absolutely.
We need another 8 points off of there.
Absolutely.
Get it under 20. That'd be unbelievable in this day and age of high-flying offense. But is it getting easier to recruit for the defense now that we have an identity on defense of this blitzing, rushing kind of I call it the Times Square defense, because it's a lot of, you don't know where it's coming from.
Well, that's the plan. We want to be aggressive. We feel like we have the athletes to do it. We continue to get those athletes. And I think kids, when they watch us play, they like to play in a system like we have. As a DB, you love to play man coverage. Well, you're going to get that opportunity with us. As a linebacker, you like to blitz. Well, you're going to blitz. If you're a defensive lineman, you like to get off and be aggressive, you're going to get it. So it's an exciting type of defense, and we got a lot of pieces back from last year. We look to improve on what we've done, and we're excited about the new guys that we have coming in. When you look at them all, whether it's D-line, linebacker, or secondary, a lot of length at the positions.
A lot of length and just a lot of size and a lot of ability.
And speed, and that's what we're always trying to get.
Perfect. Coach, congratulations.
Appreciate it, Frank. Thanks, man. Have a great day.
I will make sure I say hi to my dad for you.
Do that. All right.
All right, the 2016 Lobo NLI show will be right back. We've got more coming up. Don't go away.
I'm one of the 5,000 because I believe in supporting educational opportunities for Lobo student athletes.
I am one of the 5,000 because I believe the Lobos are a source of pride for the entire state of New Mexico.
I am one of the 5,000 because I believe in building champions now and in the future.
I am one of the 5,000 because I am a Lobo for life.
Donations to the Lobo Club directly impact more than 450 student athletes at the University of New Mexico. Membership started as little as $50. As we drive for 5,000 members for the first time in school history, will you be one of the 5,000? Call the Lobo Club at 925-2582 or go to drive-to5000.com.
Back here on the 2016 Lobo NLI show, it is National Signing Day. We're going to remind everybody, if you have a question, you can tweet it at us at #LoboNLI. Well, when you are a coach in this system, it's a lot of fun. When you're an offensive coach running the offense we run, you have a lot of fun. If you're the running backs coach, you have the smile that this guy has all the time. Apollo Wright, running backs coach, also special teams coordinator, but it's probably funner being the running backs coach.
Oh, I wouldn't say
around
that.
here.
It was both fun this past year. We had a good season, and it was very interesting to take over the special teams, and of course, the running back on our offense is pretty good.
How much do you take in? I know you guys look at stats at the end of the year and wins and things like that. Is there any special feeling the fact that you guys set a school record with rushing? You had 42 rushing touchdowns this year. It's a tremendous amount of rushing touchdowns. Do you take any personal pride in that?
Of course. I think any time that you coach a position and the numbers are what they are, the stats are what they are, you definitely take a personal interest in as far as making sure that everybody's a part of it, or the whole group it's a team game, and so everybody gets their credit.
And it's really fun when you talk about a team game. The rushing offense at UNM truly is a team game because it's not just the running backs running and the line blocking, but you've got that tight end as a cruiser coming in. You've got wide receivers with a lot of blocks. You've got quarterbacks running. So it really is a team game for UNM. As you've gone out recruiting, with the successes we've had running the football, and people can see Jarrell Presley, top 20 all-time in rushing yards. Cole Gauchi is top 20 all-time in rushing yards. Terrion Gibson's in there, top 20 all-time in rushing yards. Casey Carrier's in the top 5. As you go in there and just show those things to running backs that come in here, do you literally have the pick of the litter as to who you want to get in here? Is it that easy?
I think it's a running back's dream, definitely, if that's what you're asking. It's one of those deals where Coach Davey and Coach DeBest came in here 4 years ago and said this is what we're going to do, and the stats again show, being in the top in the country. I think that kind of perks up the running backs when you have a chance to recruit a very good one.
Now, I would think as a special teams coordinator, I want to switch.
Okay.
As a special teams coordinator on National Signing Day, it's a bigger day maybe for you than some of the other folks because you're looking at when we bring in a DB and going, oh, he could be a return guy, or you see a linebacker and go, oh, he could be an up man. Do you look at and do you talk with all the other coaches and do they say, hey, I could see this guy fitting in this spot in special teams?
Of course. It's one of those deals that everybody that you look at or everybody that you're bringing in, you're like, okay, like kind of just what you just said as far as already having a depth chart put, like, okay, well, I want to try him out here, or I want to try this linebacker out here, and we have to replace the number 8 on kickoff, and we got to replace that guy. So I can see him doing that, just looking at all the highlight tapes. So that's something I do. I go back and try to look at everybody's highlight tape and say, okay, let me put my depth chart together already.
All right, well, let's take a look at what we got. We're coming back here. We've got running backs and we've got the special teams. I think we have the running backs first, and obviously, the lead guy coming back is going to be Terrion Gibson. Had a fantastic season. He missed a game. Still had 848 yards, had 6 touchdowns. Very good out of the backfield. He's a very underrated receiver with 185 yards and 17 receptions. You have 1 red shirt back. You lose, obviously, Jarrell Presley, and that'll hurt a little bit. And then let's go to the special teams slide, and you'll see that we did lose 1 major person, and that is the punter, which we believe we've replaced. You see Jason Sanders will come in and was 22 for 22 on extra points. Struggled a little bit on field goals, but was very consistent on extra points. Top 7 nationally in touchback percentage. Certainly was a weapon, even though he wasn't kicking field goals anymore. Jason, to his credit, stayed focused and was a tremendous weapon for you. It's big when the other team has to go 80 yards every time after you score.
Exactly. It's game of field position, and he is definitely a weapon in that phase. We credit our kickoff team as far as going down there, but we know that Jason, he's most likely going to kick that ball out of the end zone. So, even our guys say, Jason, give us a chance every once in a while to make a tackle. So, it's pretty good.
I can see John Russo actually saying that. Exactly. I can see Russo wanting to say that. Well, let's go right to it. We've got 2 recruits under Apollo Wright's care. We've got 1 as a running back and a very good punter. And we'll start with the running back. Davian Vigilant. First of all, I love the name Davian Vigilant, but this is a guy who's got tremendous speed, 3,000 yards rushing over his junior and senior year. What did you see in him, and what did you like in him?
Very quick first step, burst, very good burst. Can do everything. He can run between the tackles, run outside. As you see, pulls away from guys. fast. You know, he's a track kid. So, you know, anytime you get that speed on the field and you know, we have to replace Jarrell Presley, so we're replacing speed with speed. So that's always a great thing.
Is he more of a Presley bigger guy with speed? Is he more of a Terrion Gibson guy who's a little bit smaller but can go? I mean, we watch his highlights. He's going through the middle.
Yeah, he's kind of a mixture between the two. You know, he's very thick downstairs. You know, meaning his legs, you know, he's very strong kid. He's probably you know, the size of a chestnut. You know, so but. He can do it all, and that's what we're excited about. He can catch the ball out of the backfield like a Gip, or you know, or break tackles like a Jarrell Presley.
And now let's go to the punter, Corey Bajorquez, as we've referred to him. He's an ordained minister. I don't know if you knew that, but
yes, I did.
He's an ordained minister, left-footed punter. A little different here for UNM.
Yes.
And so, but I mean, obviously you like the fact that he's the #1 punter among junior college punters. But what'd you like about him?
I like the fact that he gets distance on the ball, great height on the football, and you know, I know as far as coaching on the other side, as far as the punt returner, you know, when he has to try to, when you have to try to catch a guy that's a left-footed punter, you drop a couple because the ball's a little bit different. So we like that aspect of it as well. And it changes up some things. It changes up some things. You know, most people have a tendency of defending the right-footed punter, but now you got to defend the left-footed punter, and so you can do a couple of things with that.
And you saw it there because he did the left-footed roll punt.
Yes.
Now, and we joked around about this, but you're going to have to retrain some of your guys here because they've been doing the right-footed roll punt for a while. But it does give that element of the returner is not, the returner too is also used to that right foot. He's used to rolling to his left and picking it up, and now he's got to change his whole line of thinking and go to the right. So it's a big key to not only get a guy with a big leg, but a guy that can do some of those things, and it really gives you a different element.
Exactly, and especially in practice. I mean, you always practice with a right-footed punter, and then you come in, and in the game it's a left-footed punter, just kind of like what you just said. It's a whole different element of the game, and then I think that was interesting for us to get.
And of course, we got Sam Gentry who comes back.
Yes.
He lettered last year as the holder,
yes.
But was also a backup punter last year. Yes. We've got Jason Sanders can also punt as well if you need to. Sanders can kick off. So certainly it looks like special teams-wise we're good. And talking to Bob DeBest, you look at some of these guys we brought in, and you may have your pick of the litter on returners.
Oh,
which has got to be fun for you.
And we have a lot of them already in the program, so it's going to be exciting for us.
All right, Apollo Wright.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a little bit more coming up here. Remember, we're going to have Sed Bonner coming up soon, as well as Coach David. It's the Lobo NLI Show 2016 version. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 2016 Lobo NLI Show. I'm Frank Mercogliano, your host for the afternoon's proceedings here from the Toe Diem Athletic Complex, where the football offices and everything else Lobo football is housed. I want to remind everyone you can follow us along on social media. Tweet your questions to us at hashtag LoboNLI. That's hashtag LoboNLI. It's there at the bottom of your screen. And to my right, my lunch partner, my favorite lunch partner, Coach Chuck McMillan. Charles, how are you doing?
Doing great, and yourself?
You know what? This is really a fun day. It's just a day where you're signing guys and everything looks upbeat for the program. And in the past, it's been, hey, we're upbeat because we think these guys are going to help us. Now we're in a spot where the guys we've had have helped us, and we know these guys are going to help us. So it's a fun day.
Exactly.
It really is. Let's talk a little bit about your team, and I know we'll have a card coming up on the defensive backs, but you have an interesting spot because you lose one starter. The only starter on the defense that we lose is Cranston Jones, 4-year guy. He's been sort of the heart and soul, just a guy who's really busted his butt for this program. But you have an interesting situation. You have so many guys who redshirted last year. You had Blair Manley, who was a corner. Marquez Mackey was a corner. Jacob Gergel, who could kind of do it all if he needed it. Bijan Parker was a corner who only played in 5 games before getting hurt. So while it's great that we signed all these recruits, you have a different situation because you have guys from last year's recruiting class that are just now going to start making an impact. Got to be a lot of fun for you.
Exactly. Me and Coach Al Simmons, who works in the secondary with me, it's one of those things to where even though we lose Cranston, there's guys that have some experience. You mentioned Bijan. He played at the beginning of the season before he got hurt, who was here the year prior. You got Gergel, who came in, before, he had, redshirted. There's guys that we do have. We have Lee Crosby, a name not to mention, that plays nickel, that can go back out to corner and play corner. So we have a lot of guys with that experience as far as redshirt guys, like you mentioned, Marquez Mackey and Blair Manley, that can step in. The key thing is, can they step in and do what Cranston did? And, you never know that until you start practice again and then until the season starts.
Yeah, and a guy like Lee Crosby is a guy who benefited from redshirting like some of these other guys have, which is fantastic. We do have a Twitter question. This is from 7_Bert, which is a difficult thing to say, but 7_Bert. Chuck, who do you see in a leadership role among the defensive backs? It's a great question.
Great question. And when you look at it, you got to go to Daniel Henry. Daniel Henry was a guy on the field last year that I didn't like to take off the field. Even when he patted his head to come off, I wouldn't take him off the field. So I look at Daniel Henry, who's going to be a senior force, to step in that role. And also you can look at Ryan Santos, a guy who has made a change as far as with his character, as far as with his personality, as far as what he does on the field. So when you look at it, there's 2 guys that I look at, Daniel Henry being number 1 and Ryan Santos being number 2. Perfect.
Well, let's take a look at what we got coming back here. We've got our What's Back card, and take a look at who's featured. My, oh my, there's Daniel Henry. And you see you have 7 lettermen back. I actually made a mistake on the card. We have 3 red shirts back, not 1. So obviously a lot of guys coming back. But you see Daniel had a terrific season with 72 tackles. Was top 3 on the team, 3 tackles for a loss. Came up with some big fumble recoveries, forced fumbles, had one in the bowl game, and a guy that you can lean to. I think we have a cornerback, so I think we have 2 of these cards. Possibly not. But anyway, we can go from Daniel, we can go straight. There we go. There's Nias Martin. 3 lettermen back among the cornerbacks. And so you talk about the safeties, and we count that nickel, and that's why there's 7 back. So you have 10 defensive backs coming back. And there's the red shirts and the 2 there with Marquez and with Blair. And Nias was a very good get for you guys. He was a late signee for you last year that turned in a great season.
Yes, very late signing. Basically, I believe somewhere July 26th when we did sign him. Myself, Coach Davey, and Coach Simmons, watched him with Coach Kaz. Loved the kid. Went out, seen him, and we didn't expect him to come in and do exactly what he did. But he was a great get for us, and he, like I said, he started, I would say, 7 games if I'm correct.
Yeah, maybe. I believe that's right.
And and he played in most of all of them, and and he was a big factor in us winning this year.
Big factor in that. Boy had a lot of big plays in that Boise State game. You play 115 plays and they threw it like 75 times.
Yes, they did.
He earned his scholarship that day. Well, let's take a look at our recruits. This is what we're here for, National Signing Day. You've got 4 defensive backs coming in. Corey Hightower was a corner in high school. Very good kid out of Huntsville, Texas. His cousin, Jay Griffin IV, also signed with us. What did you like about Corey?
When you look at Corey, one thing you like about the Huntsville program is a lot of man-to-man. And as you see, we do this year we went to a whole lot of man-to-man.
Yes, we did.
He has great speed. He's physical, great ball skills, as you can see there, as far as with the interception, and just prior to that with the speed. And so the key thing about him, he can come in from a great program to where he's coached technique. It helps us out to where he may be a kid if he can come in during the summertime and put on proper weight and learn that the defense could be part of our defense this year.
One of the things I noticed too, and you'll see this in all these highlights with the DBs, really good tackling technique on some of these guys.
Yes, and when you look at it, if you look at the year before where we struggled making tackles to this past year, which helps us out on defense as far as making tackles, and that's what we're looking for, guys that can be aggressive enough to make tackles, and then whatever we teach with our Lobo roll and our Lobo tackles, which also would help them out when they're here.
And you just saw Stanley Barnwell just reading a little hitch pattern and blowing the thing up. Stanley, a junior college kid, already here on campus, so he's going to get the benefit of spring ball. Tremendous benefit when you get a chance to do that.
Well, yeah, when you look at Stanley coming in for spring ball, and also Stanley is a kid that plays some corner, who's a safety, as you can see. And the key thing with him, he's physical. You can see him come up and make tackles. Getting that spring ball, being coached by the guys that are here, and then getting the summer, he's got to be a big factor for us this year.
And again, it's one of those things when I see these guys, is you see them good cover guys, but they play the run really well. And in our league, when you're playing, everyone thinks Boise State passes it a lot, but they also actually run it a lot. Utah State runs it a lot. Air Force runs. A lot of these teams run the ball. You got guys who can really play the run well.
You got to be able to stop the run and win.
Absolutely. Patrick Peak plays safety, very rangy. Again, here's a play where he just reads it so well, and it can accelerate to the ball. There's a lot of speed in this class.
When you look at it, the speed is one factor. That's something you cannot teach. But then also, you cannot teach ball skills. You cannot teach kids being aggressive. It's almost like having a pit bull. You never have to teach a pit bull how to fight. And so, in that case, we were getting kids that already know how to tackle, know how to fight, and just to be aggressive.
I don't know anyone who has a pet bull, but I'm going to trust you on that.
Okay.
This is what you get when you're recruiting Texas, I suppose, is you get the pet bull thing. And you look at Patrick here as he knocks the pass away and picks that one off there. You talked about ball skills. The joke of defensive backs is you're defensive backs because you don't have hands, otherwise you'd be a receiver. But as you watch these highlights, these guys have hands. They have the ability to make plays. And
that's what we look for also within recruiting also, if guys can catch. Not because you play defensive back you cannot catch. It's just the fact that in some states, you just play one side of the ball.
Our fourth recruit from the state of New Mexico is Gabe Ortega, was a quarterback and a defensive back. He projects as a DB here, so he's in with your group right now. But a guy who, we've had a lot of success with quarterbacks turn defensive backs at this university, especially under you.
Exactly. When you look at it, the one thing about him playing quarterback, when he did come on his visit, we did talk about him knowing the game because he sees it totally different than a regular defensive back. By him being a quarterback, he understands, as far as defensively, coverage-wise, he's where he's supposed to be or what he's supposed to be looking at, things like that. It also goes to say, playing on both sides of the ball tells you how, his athleticism, which that brings to the table.
Guy obviously won a state championship with Cleveland High School, local guy. And again, it's just great to have 4 New Mexico kids getting scholarships. It just raises the profile. It shows how hard we recruit this state. It was the 3rd most recruited state for UNM this year. It's a big thing for us.
And I think Coach Davey does a great job as far as trying to get the prospects here in the state of New Mexico. There are players here, and we try to do our best job to identify them.
Charles McMillan, defensive coach and passing game defensive coordinator as well. We got to mention that.
Oh, thank you.
Got to mention that. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, we've got more of the 2016 Lobo NLI show, but we want to remind you, if you want to get involved in Lobo football, because we had a heck of a season last year, 7 wins in a bowl game, get season tickets. That's the best way to support UNM football, also the best way to support the entire program. Next year's home schedule is fantastic. South Dakota, ULM are our non-conference games at home. And then we've got a great slate of conference games. We've got the 2 Western Division opponents, San Jose State, Nevada coming in, and regional rival Wyoming, and another rematch with Boise State. The last time they were here, that was the replay review game. So UNM wants to get a little revenge for the loss at home, but I'm sure Boise State wants to get a little revenge for our win up there on the blue turf. Tickets start as low as $96, and these are for new accounts. If you've already got your season tickets or been a season ticket holder before, don't worry and don't sweat it. Your seats are held and your seats are reserved. but this is for new season ticket holders. We've got 52 returners coming back, 17 starters, and 10 of them are on defense. At $96 price, by the way, is the lowest, it's the second lowest entry point for a season ticket in the Mountain West, and it's the fourth lowest price overall. We'll be right back. The Lobo 2016 NLI show's got more coming up. Be right back.
This is just a start for us, and obviously we have to get better, but it's encouraging. It's encouraging just in the big picture part of it. The no back down of our team and the performance level of our team, to be quite honest. I think the best is still ahead.
Back here on the 2016 Lobo NLI show, I want to remind everyone that if you want to get involved in social media, get involved with the program, you can at New Mexico FB. That's our Twitter handle, New Mexico FB. Also at UNM Lobos. And if you want to get a question in, you can see it right there at the bottom of your screen. It's hashtag LoboNLI. A guy who knows all about Twitter. I mean, he's a Twitter mastermind. Is our offensive line coach, Jason Lensmeyer. That may not be true. Jason may not be the Twitter master of things.
I'm getting better, yeah. I'm working on it, so I'm trying.
So Jason Lensmeyer, I want to talk a little bit. You're the one coach on our staff who obviously went to school here, so you get a lot of those questions about having gone here and that kind of stuff. One of the things that you're very passionate about is community service. Your team, your position group in particular, goes out, does a lot of stuff. I believe we have some video of your guys going out and doing community service. Will you just talk a little bit, step away from NLI, and talk a little bit about the importance of it?
Yeah, I think every semester we'll try to find, something to do around the community that we can, kind of sink our teeth into. A couple years we did at Kirtland Elementary here, we did a football club that those kids really enjoyed, teaching those guys, skills, on and off the field, staying in school, working hard, and then just the football aspect of it too. And then this past year, we went to a child's garden, which was great. Actually, my son attends there, so trying to find some correlation there where I can kind of get it in. And, those kids go there every Friday and read to the kids, and just really, really enjoyed it.
And it's something as you watch the video, camera guys can do different things, but our guys, those guys are having as much fun as those little kids.
Oh, they'd fight. We'd have 15 slots every Friday, and it was filled every week. And those guys have class or we're traveling. We got a season. We're playing games, and those guys were just great. Every week going out there and spending their time with those kids and trying to be a positive role model.
Let's talk a little bit. And I talked to Coach DeBess about this and to Coach Wright. Our rushing game was tremendous. 42 rushing touchdowns, a school record. We had 5,000 yards for the third time in the last 4 years, 8th time in school history. Having that kind of offense, is it? I don't want to say easy, but is it fun? Is it simpler to get offensive linemen here, knowing that they're going to be able to run block and knock guys over and really be a physical offensive line?
Yeah, I think this year it's really kind of showed itself. I think we've got our best class since I've been here. My second tour of duty, but by far the best class that we've signed. And I think it has shown that. Being top 5 for 3 years, and then we were top 10 this year in rushing offense. And I think these kids, they want to come be a part of that. So it's been pretty unique.
Well, let's take a look at what's coming back for the offensive line. We returned 2 starters. Reno Henderson is probably the biggest name of those guys. 4 lettermen overall. Lose 4 lettermen, including 3 starters. So there are some openings along the offensive line.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. And those, we got 2 junior college kids we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a second, that that we brought in mid-year that are going to help us, just during spring football, and then some more that'll come in the fall. But we lost really 5 starters. The way I look at it, we lost 2 kids to season-ending injuries, and then we lost these 3 that were seniors, so lost 5 guys, and so it's just there's opportunity there, and that's why we brought in the 2 junior college kids, and then another late junior college kid, Avery Jordan, and bring him in to help us. So we got some opportunity, which is good.
Opportunity. We got 5 offensive linemen and a tight end to get to. So let's get to the video of our guys. I didn't mention, of course, tight ends. You're going to be talking about them. Nick Lehman, our top returning guy. You notice there's no key stats on the bottom. It's an interesting situation with our tight ends in that we don't have any tight ends returning with any catches or things like that. Obviously, a lot of Nick's been involved in a lot of the blocking schemes and things like that. So we've got to look for tight end to kind of replace that cruiser position that Reese White did. That's a big spot.
There's no doubt. Edling and Reese White, 2 just great program kids that have been unbelievable for us. Those are 2 giant holes that we have to fill. We'll talk about the kid that we signed today, and we're happy about that. That was a great get for us, and we got some guys in the program that I think have a chance, but that's kind of a little bit of an unknown right now, which is going into spring. We got some questions to get answered.
That's exactly what spring football's for. Let's take a look at the recruits. We've got 6 of them. The first one up is Avery Jordan, big kid out of Pearland, Texas, and Blinn College. Played on the end. What'd you like about him as a tackle?
Great looking kid, 6'4". He's got a lot of football ahead of him. Hasn't played a lot of football just in his life. He's pretty new to the game, and he's got 3 years to play too, so he's got a redshirt year available, and really athletic. His brother's starting center for the Los Angeles Clippers. Really athletic family, and there's a huge upside for him. So we're really excited about him coming in and hopefully getting that right tackle position locked down.
I really like in that one clip where he's blocking a guy and then kind of recognizes, hey, I've got to chip this guy coming in. Seems like he's pretty aware, and seems like he's got a pretty good football IQ.
Yeah, I think so. For as much football as he played, which is minimal, in the grand scheme of things, and I think he's got a chance to be a really good player, really athletic, bends well, great feet. So we're excited about getting him for sure.
Yeah, again, it's a situation too where with 3 positions open, maybe if you look at it, 5 positions open along that offensive line. A lot of places. A guy coming in, he's already here, a guy named Blaze Fountain. We'll be talking to Blaze later on. Big kid out of Kansas, really strong guy.
Yes, I mean he's already shown that in our off-season program. Obviously he's on campus like you said before, and a good character kid, will do anything. I think he's gonna be a great program kid that'll do whatever it takes to get on the field. And he's sitting in that other room right now. He's nervous about coming and talking to you, so I had to drop that in there. But he's been really good, pleasant surprise so far.
But he's the guy. When you think of linemen and you think of like Midwest, Nebraska and Kansas, you just think big kids that are linemen that can block. And he's a guy. He's a natural center, which is something you did not have last year.
That's what we're looking for. That center position, that changed quite a bit. We had to make some changes there. The second game of the season that took us a little while to get worked out, and we expect him to come in and compete for sure.
All right, this next guy, we're going to have to make sure Craig Neal and the basketball staff doesn't try and pick him off. David Swaby, 6'8". That is a large amount of human being right there. 6'8". What'd you like about David?
For his size, we think he has the ability to bend. He's really, really athletic. He's been a basketball kid as well as a football kid, and just great family. He's from the Bahamas. I did a home visit in the Bahamas, which that was tough. Going down there it was really it was hard on me. But no, just a great kid, great family, and I think he's got a huge upside. Just his frame. He looks like he weighs about 260, but he's 310 pounds. So that frame, and there's no telling. Sky's the limit for him.
And we should mention this too, because we actually measure every recruit when they come in. We measure them and weigh them. So this is, sometimes when you're in high school, kids will say, "Oh, I'm 6'9", and he's like 6'2". I mean, things like that happen. This is he is a legit 6'8".
I'm 6'4". He makes me look like a baby.
So he makes
crazy.
Cameron Smith look like a baby.
Yes.
So you not only have 6'8", now you have a 6'7"
yes.
recruit. I mean, this is 13.5 feet of talent and recruit here at the offensive line.
I'm not very good at math, but I'll trust you. It's there's no doubt Cameron, another big body kid that developmental guy that we're going to bring in, and we think has really, really big upside. And obviously his size alone, we try to get a couple bigger, younger kids in the program, just size-wise, that height and weight, and he fits that mold. And we think he's gonna be really good. Great character, great personality. Got to spend a lot of time with him and his mom through the recruiting process, and just really, really good people.
And a chance to get into Washington, a spot that we haven't traditionally recruited a lot, but really good to get up into a spot where there's a lot of football players.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think that's we're going to try to hit that a little bit more. There's a lot of players, and it's a little under recruited, in our opinion. So we've gotten 2 there the last 2 years.
Raymond Baylor III, another guy who's already here, comes out of the college football hotbed of ASA College in Brooklyn. But what'd you like about Raymond?
Really good feet, athletic, strong, powerful. You see him right here. I mean, he runs through blocks. We got to get him, get him in shape, that kind of thing. A lot of JC kids that come in, but he's working. He's been really good. He's on campus, like you said, and it's good to get him for the spring and get him some reps. But we expect him, whether he plays tackle or guard, we think he's athletic enough to do both. But he will play physical, and I think he's got really good upside.
You can see in a lot of this video too, he does a lot of pulling as a guard, so he's got some athletic ability.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yes, that's what we really liked. And he finishes blocks. You see him on all these. He's getting the better of that defensive player every single time. So.
I got to talk to him yesterday. He told me he likes to play with a chip on his shoulder, and he said he has a chip on his shoulder, and he kind of was picking off schools on our schedule that he had a chip on his shoulder, so I got to like that. Jonathan Brees is the tight end on this group, 6'5", 260, and what did you guys like in Jonathan? Such an important position for what we do blocking-wise.
This is a key get for us, as a tight end. Just with the numbers you spoke about earlier, we needed to bring somebody in, and he's a bigger, longer kid that we feel that really kind of fits, that position. A guy that can be in space, whether he's an on the ball or off the ball tight end, that can really give us some advantages in the blocking schemes that that we have. And the tight end position is as important, if not more important, than the O-line position in that blocking. I mean, there's a lot of strain and stress put on that kid, and Reese White and Chris Edley and those guys did an amazing job. So he's got some big shoes to fill, but we're really excited to get him.
And like a lot of high school kids, not only did he play when you're a tight end, you also play defensive end. That's why you see him wearing the non-traditional receiving number of 99, but a kid who obviously knows both sides of the ball and has great hands and has a great ability. You see him make a tackle there, and just a guy that I think can really help us out.
Yes, no doubt about it. And that frame, I mean, we're excited about just his size. We haven't really had that in the program yet, and so 6'5" kid coming in, that's great.
All right, well, you guys have the little sign on your door saying positions open, come on by. A lot of spots on the offensive line. It's going to be a fun spring.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jason Lensmeyer, our offensive line coach. We'll be right back. More of the 2016 Lobo NLI show right after this.
Saturday night college football from Boise, Idaho for this Mountain West Conference matchup as the Broncos play host to the Lobos for the 7th meeting of all time.
And they're starting to see the fruits of their labor. They've built the foundation. It should be an interesting matchup.
One win away from being bowl eligible for the first time since 2007. receiver who's had a huge season. Rippon guns it, and it's broken up and intercepted. Picked off by Ryan Langford. And it's Presley who's going to get the first and more. And gets all the way down the sideline, plowing over a defender, and Presley still on his feet. Look out, he's gonna go in for the touchdown. Jarrell Presley making everyone miss. And now here's Jordan going to work, and Lamar Jordan goes in for the touchdown. Rippon is going to be tripped up and sacked by Cody Baker. Jordan goes deep. He's going to take a shot downfield, has a man, and it is caught inside the 20-yard line. Now here they come, and the pass is juggled and then intercepted. And it's Markel Bird that has it. Apodaca going deep, taking a shot, has a man. It's caught. It's Delane Hart Johnson. And the signal is touchdown. He's in. Richard McQuarley. Rippon guns in. This pass is intercepted. Keeper, and they flip it out to Gibson, and he is untouched for the touchdown. Boise State still an opportunity. It's Austin Cottrell. Cottrell, look out inside the 10. He's going to be tackled inside the 5. And New Mexico, they hold and they win it 31-24.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the 2016 Lobo NLI show. It is National Signing Day on February 3rd, and just a great day around college football. Several times, teams can, in December, you can sign a recruit. They get here. We announce them today, and we've had 3 of those. One of them is sitting to my right. Blaze Fountain is a center out of junior college. Blaze, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Out of Butler Community College, and Blaze, obviously you now enrolled, you're here already. So can you talk a little bit and talk to our fans that are watching just a little bit and give them kind of an inside peek of what the recruiting process was like for you as far as coaches contacting you and what it was like on your recruiting visit?
Well, when I got here, I'd never been to Albuquerque before. Just didn't really know what to expect, and it was a lot bigger city than I expected and everything, and the coaching staff was just great, and the facilities were way better than I expected, and just kind of felt like it'd be a good fit for my next 2 years that I have left to play. So
You told me that you don't fly, you haven't flown on a lot of planes,
No.
but coming in, it was a really cool scene because it was nighttime and all the lights were on. Talk a little bit about what that told you about the city.
It just was a big city. Never been a lot of places like that, and it was just kind of cool to see that type of place,
Mays isn't, Wichita, Mays area, not a huge spot, is it?
It's not that big, no.
So talk a little bit about your major. You're majoring in biology and just what you want to do with your life after you get done. I know your career here is just starting, but once you graduate out of here, what do you want to do with your career?
Well, with the biology, I'm hoping to get a livestock pharmaceuticals job, and then just after that, kind of move on and maybe make some money and purchase some land and livestock and stuff like that.
So livestock pharmaceuticals. So you're a smart guy.
I like to think so.
Definitely, I don't know if you met Garrett Adcock on our team. Garrett was named one of the top 5 smartest guys in all of college football. And, it's one of those things, too, where the old tradition, and I'm a lot older than you, Blaze, but the old tradition was, dumb linemen, and linemen weren't that smart. And in this system and what we do, I've noticed more and more offensive linemen are some of the smartest guys out there because you have to do a lot of different things. As a center, a lot of times you're going to be the guy who's calling the blocking schemes and stuff like that. Is that something that you did at Butler?
Yes, sir. All the stuff that we did, I did the same responsibilities. It's just different terminology that they use here compared to what we used at Butler.
All right. What was your favorite part of your recruiting trip here?
All the food, honestly. There's a lot of nice, good food.
Wait, there's a big shocker. An offensive lineman like the food. That's a big shocker. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else other than the food?
Just the facilities and all the coaching staff. Everybody's really welcoming and just really good experience.
Did you get any green chili or red chili on your trip? That's probably what everyone back there wants to know. Did you get red or green?
I got some green chili. I really like green chili.
Okay, see, I'm a green chili guy too. I just can't do the red. The green chili is big time. Well, we've got a lot of open spots on the offensive line, and certainly you being here, getting the benefit of spring ball, I think they're looking at, especially a guy who's a true center. We didn't have a true center last year. Our center had to move over from guard because of an injury, and so I think they're looking at you as an open position like that. As you were looking at different colleges and things, was that a big enticement to you that there are a lot of spots available to get immediate playing time, considering you're a junior with 2 years left?
Yes, sir, because I don't have a lot of time left, so I wanted to go somewhere where I had the best opportunity to finish up my football career the best way possible.
Well, I know our fans are looking forward to seeing you out there. They'll get their chance to watch you in spring ball. If you're ever here at practice in the spring and you want to be entertained and see a really great workout, watch the offensive line. It's where I tend to gravitate to. It's a great practice. Coach Lensmeyer runs a great practice, and it's a lot of fun. Blaze, we wish you best of luck in your career.
Thank you.
Thanks for choosing New Mexico. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
It's been Blaze Fountain. I want to remind everybody, if you want to get to a game and say you got a big group, say you've got, I don't know, maybe you're at a local hospital or business and you've got 25 or more and you want to come to a game, we can definitely help you with that. Group tickets start at just $11 per ticket for groups of 25 or more. You can contact Joe Gailing at 505-925-1620. We've got all sorts of packages from pregame tailgates to on-field experiences. Anything you want, any option, it's available for you. And again, group tickets start at just $11 per ticket. Think about it. Your group can come watch UNM play Boise State for $11 a ticket. Joe Gailing is the guy you want to call, 505-925-1620. We'll be right back with more of the 2016 Lobo NLI show right after this. 2016 Lobo NLI show for National Signing Day 2016. The Lobos signed 21 recruits to the class today. You can get all the information on those recruits at golobos.com. We've got videos and highlights of all 21 recruits, as well as their pictures and complete bios of everyone on that class. The orchestrator of Lobo football and the orchestrator of the class, and the guy who's probably got a big smile on his face, has got to be a nice day for you, Coach Bob Davey. Bob, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Frank. Good to be here.
So just give us an overall assessment of the class and how you feel it is. Obviously, everyone loves their recruiting class, but certainly this is a very good class.
You know, I look at it as another piece of the puzzle in the big picture of things. You know, first and foremost, we're able to put two of our last year players on scholarship, Jake Rossschiller and Kenneth Maxwell. We have three players that are already here, two offensive linemen and a safety. And then we went out and signed a bunch of new guys that are coming in. I guess you kind of judge it in an old school way of who did you beat to get the ones that you signed, what schools, what programs did you beat, and then the ones that you lost out on, where did they go? So I think if you use that criteria, this is by far the best recruiting class we've had, from just who we competed to get them and who beat us if we didn't get them. And that's a pretty good barometer. So, you know, we're pleased. As you said, I've never been one to jump up and get too excited until I see them get here.
Sure.
But, you know, we signed 6 players out of the Los Angeles area. Certainly that jumps out at me. And several of those players we beat teams that were in our conference that were much closer, that we hadn't been able to beat in the past. We signed 4 players from here in New Mexico, which is huge for us. We signed a lot of high school players. You know, we didn't particularly go the junior college route to excess. So we'll see. But by far, I would say the highest recruited class that we have brought in here, probably by far.
And certainly when you talk about the New Mexico kids, you got some of the cream of the crop out of New Mexico with guys like Teton Saltis and Marcus Williams and Cameron Miller and Gabe Ortega. Got great New Mexico players. And I would think that, especially too when you talk about the California kids in Los Angeles, we had a lot of tremendous exposure this year. The big win over Boise State that was on national TV. The big win over Air Force, the win over Utah State, the bowl game. How does that exposure help when it comes to recruiting some of those kids in those areas?
I think it gave validity and credibility to what people saw going on the first 3 years, but there's actual tangible evidence that it works. You know, the reception has been unbelievable since we've gotten here. The reputation of our coaches, the way we do things, that's all been really good. I think we had confirmation by the way we played late in the season, and those games were really big in California. You know, we played the Boise State game late at night on ESPN. We played the Air Force game late at night on ESPN, and I think probably on the West Coast it resonated more than it did anywhere else, but it really did resonate across the country. You know, we beat some really good football teams late in the season.
And those games that start late here were prime time in California, which is tremendous.
They were, and one other thing on the California recruiting, you know, we have a saying here, if we win, there's enough in it for all of us. So it's a team effort, absolutely, in recruiting. You know, we crisscross and we cross-recruit. But I have to mention Scott Baumgartner and the job he did in Southern California. Boom really orchestrated signing 6 guys out of Southern California. They were all highly recruited. And all the coaches went in there and helped. But Scott Baumgartner, I think, did an incredible job. He's very familiar with the area. In fact, we signed a young man from his high school, La Mirada High School.
Right.
Tavaka, our quarterback. So, you know, Boom did an outstanding job for us.
A guy, we referred to him as our version of Cordell Stewart, a guy who Tavaka was quarterback, can play receiver, return kicks. I've never seen a quarterback return punts before, but he did that as well. So certainly some great jobs there, especially with Boom. But you also have, when you talked about your staff, I mean, you even have a new coach, Stan Egan, who was credited by one of the recruits as, you know, when I met him, that's what clinched it for me. And so much of recruiting is relationships with coaches, but it's also, and Josh and I talked about this, it's also about how much the university contributes. We have professors who come in on the weekends and do things with the recruits and meet with them. We have a tremendous support from our local businesses and hotels. It's when you say a team effort, I think you're not just talking about the coaching team and the staff. You're talking about the entire town, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just got off the phone with several professors that helped us recruit. Inviting them in person tonight where we have a little signing party.
Mm-hmm.
They were there each and every week. The coaches, this is our job. This is what we get paid to do. And I said it each and every week. The support from the faculty has been just outstanding. And, as far as this city, we are kind of still the great unknown. It's amazing how just about every family and every kid that comes in here said, Coach, it's much better than I thought it would be. That just continues to happen. But what's happened now, because we're in our 4th year, we've developed strong relationships and strong ties. And our reputation is very good out there, that we treat kids the right way, we develop the kids, we're disciplined. We may be old school in some ways, but I think deep down families and players really crave that kind of discipline. So it's starting to happen right now, Frank. It's starting to happen right now. This thing's going in the right direction.
And I would think, too, with the professors, and you talk about the traditions and the things that you're doing and the consistency, one of the things that's been consistent since you've been here is the focus on academics. And it's got to be easier to get the professors to want to help you when you can sit there and say, hey, we've had 50 academic all-conference in the last 3 years, and this year's hasn't come out yet. That number's going to go up. We had the 2nd highest fall semester GPA in the last 30 years. I would think that academic piece really helps both with the professors on campus, and it's got to help with the parents when you're recruiting
let me
as well.
say this, we can talk about all the numbers, and that's all great. Everybody does that. You hear numbers to the point of exhaustion. I'll share a story with you that I told our football team 2 weeks ago on Monday night when we first came back together after the bowl game, after Christmas. At one of those recruiting breakfasts we had here on campus, I had a faculty member come up to me and told me after the recruiting breakfast that they had been here 15 years on this campus and said, Coach, I just want to tell you, the quality of young men and the way kids act on our campus, it's been amazing. It's been amazing how much that's improved. And that said it all to me. And I told our team that story. I said, of all the things we did, of going to the bowl game, all the good things that are starting to be said about us, the number one thing that stuck out to me was I had a professor who was here 15 years come up and share that with me. And at the end of the day, man, you can talk about all the numbers, but that one interaction with that professor that's been on this campus for a long time said it all to me. And there's an absolute correlation between doing things right, acting like a champion, acting like a winner before it happens on the field. And now it's starting to happen on the field. 21
new players to the Lobo family. Just a tremendous recruiting class, a tremendous season, and we're looking forward to many more. Spring football, it's right around the corner. It's amazing how fast it all goes these days, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And, we're all looking forward to it. We all realize we have a long way to go. But, again, it was critical for us to capitalize on the momentum that we had created during the season. We were able to do that in recruiting. So we continue to have some momentum. Long way to go, but man, it's a fun ride, isn't it? All right, Frank. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Coach Bob Davey, head coach of Lobo football, with us. We'll be right back with more of the 2016 Lobo NLI show right after this.
We welcome you to Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of the resurgent Lobos, who've put up 6 wins this season, 4 in Mountain West play. They take on the winners of the Mountain Division in the conference, Air Force. Time play again. Jarrell Presley breaks it free. Presley is gone. 57 yards. Another big play for New Mexico. Richard McQuarley broke free. Quick throw over the middle for Griffin. It is intercepted. picked off the deflection. Roberts launches too much on it. Intercepted. Roberts intercepted. He threw it behind Robinette for the seam, and he's got a completion. Lamar Jordan, 59 yards on the drive, and he adds to it with a touchdown. Up the middle, Presley, and he finds his way in. Mexico will have to settle for 47 and 7 wins in 2015 en route to a bowl.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the 2016 Lobo NLI show, where we've had a lot of fun today. We've seen all 21 of UNM's recruits. Remember, you can go back and see any of the information you want about those recruits on golobos.com. We've got a Signing Day Central page that'll allow you to click on all the different videos for each player. You've also got bios and photos of everyone. You can follow us on all the different social media. You can see our Facebook and Twitter, Instagram as well, and YouTube. You really should subscribe to the Lobos TV, New Mexico Lobos. That YouTube channel is fantastic. It gets updated with all of our press conferences, all of our highlight packages. It's tremendous. Speaking of tremendous, I am so excited to have with us via phone Ced Bonner from Root Sports. And this has got to be a big weekend for Ced. It's Super Bowl week. And Ced obviously has a little bit of Super Bowl experience when he's with the Atlanta Falcons as a quarterback. And Ced, is this kind of a fun week for you, just before we get to the NLI stuff, just reminiscing on your time at the Super Bowl and in the NFL?
Absolutely, it is, Frank, and it's a pleasure to be on with you, bud. But losing that game was probably the biggest heartbreak of my life. The Broncos just crushed us. So that was the worst part of the whole deal. But the whole experience, a week-long vacation, so to speak, in Miami was awesome.
But you're living in Colorado now, so I'm assuming you're rooting for the Broncos? Or is it just too tough to do?
I have to. My kids would put me out of the house if I didn't root for the Broncos. They love the Broncos, and my oldest son loves Peyton Manning, so I got to root for the Broncos. It'd be nice to see the old man go out with one.
Fantastic. Ced, obviously a former quarterback, one of the great Arena League quarterbacks of all time. And Ced, you've seen a lot of Lobo football over the past year. You broadcast 5 of the 13 games this year. I know you watched a few others on TV. Can you talk a little bit, just from your perspective, about the evolution of Lobo football that you've seen going into this year?
Wow. That would be a whole show in itself. I'm just so proud to be a part of Root Sports doing the Lobo games, to see where it's come from, and to sit in the office 3 years ago of Coach Davey and just hear his vision of what he wanted to do, just the little things. You guys having one of the highest GPAs this past semester that you've had in years. Just those kind of things that he talked about years ago weren't things that were immediately attainable, immediately seen in the immediate future, but just watching it develop and watching the belief and watching the players get better, the games inch closer and closer, and then the breakthrough this year with the bowl game. I felt like I was a part of it. It made me proud to be able to witness and watch the develop and growth of this program.
As you've had a chance to look at our recruiting class and you see the ways they've kind of brought in a lot of offensive linemen and things like that, as a broadcaster who saw a bunch of games, would you say that was maybe the one spot that UNM really needed the immediate help, would be the offensive line?
Absolutely. I thought there was a ton of depth in a lot of other positions. The O-line was crucial, and I think it speaks volumes when you look at those guys, the 5 guys that they did get from the offensive line. 3 of those guys are junior college guys. So those are guys that you expect to have experience, and you want them to come in and be ready to play. But the two freshmen, talk about big bodies, man. Think about a left and a right tackle at 6'7", 6'8". That's incredible. To go out and get those kind of athletes, it's huge for the program.
Literally huge for the program when they're 6'7" and 6'8" like that. We can't, obviously we're talking with Ced Bonner from Root Sports, who broadcast 5 of Lobos games this year, broadcast many games over the past few years, and said we can't talk to you without talking quarterbacks, because that's the position you've played it. You were a standout quarterback at Cal State Northridge. Talk a little bit about what you've seen with Lamar Jordan and Austin Apodaca, and how UNM has been able to, obviously with the 2 kids that they've signed on this recruiting class, be able to kind of fill in gaps, and you don't have to bring in a quarterback because you've got 2 that has to play right away, but obviously you're bringing in 2 for the future. But can you talk a little bit about what you saw in Lamar and what you saw in Austin as it involves the Lobo offense?
Well, what I saw out of Lamar is a tremendous growth. I still think there's some areas of improvement, and I'm sure he's aware of that in the passing game. but what he's able to do with the football, running the option, is magical at times, and it makes it so tough to deal with. I think his improvement has to come being more consistent when throwing the football. Talking about Austin, I just see a fighter, a competitor, a guy that can run the option. He's not going to break for 40 and get it, but he's a much more accomplished passer. But the kid is a fighter, and that's always somebody that you want to get behind and root for. When the guy's numbers called last second, the Hawaii game where he jumps in there and leads the team back. Awesome performance to come off the bench and be ready to play. And that's what you think about with him, is he's a fighter and he's a team guy and going to be ready to go.
That comeback you were talking about against Hawaii, it was a game that was on Root Sports, and it was a tremendous comeback, one of 2 back-to-back 1-point wins. First time in school history UNM had ever won back-to-back home games by 1 point each. It was a tremendous week, and that game really set the tone for the rest of the season. As you watched UNM, could you see, just as an announcer, could you see the growth during the year from the beginning to the end of how they evolved?
Absolutely. When you talk about those 1-point wins, those were games a year ago they lost. It was a maturity thing and a belief and a finishing that had to come about. I thought after that Nevada game, we're completely dismantled and not ready to play, I believe, because no way Nevada was that much better. After that game, I think everybody took a long, hard look in the mirror and just came out and continued to get better. And that's usually a situation over the years where maybe the program, or not the program, but the team would fold and not be ready to finish because they got embarrassed. But they came out and battled, had one of the biggest wins in program history in Boise. It was just fun to watch.
Talking with Sed Bonner of Root Sports here on the 2016 Lobo NLI show. And Sed, as you look at the UNM's recruiting class, anything stick out for you? Anything you look at that says, well, this is a need and they address it? I mean, we talked about the offensive line, but anything else stick out for you in that class today?
Well, tight end Jonathan Briz, I'm glad you guys picked up a tight end. That's huge. Reese White was arguably my favorite player on the team, just because, and Chris Edling as well, just because they're complete team player mentality. Those guys blocked play after play after play, and maybe would get one bone thrown to them a game. And I think it's so huge because they load and lead on a lot of the option plays to bring another tight end in that with that kind of size, 6'5", 230 as a freshman, who can only get bigger and stronger. That's a huge pickup. I do like and I know you only list 2 quarterbacks, but Gabriel Ortega, you can't deny what he's done at the quarterback position. You can't look away from that. Cam Miller's numbers are off the charts. When I look at this guy, I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's incredible. 6,000 yards passing, 3,000 yards rushing. That's amazing. And I know he's from that other city down south, but he's now in local land, so you guys can be happy about that.
Absolutely. I suppose the biggest thing for him is he's got to be mad. He had 99 touchdowns. It's like you couldn't get one more. He couldn't get to 100. He ends his career with 99 touchdowns.
The numbers, Frank. He's not a selfish player. It's not about the numbers.
That's exactly right. Well, you know what? It is awesome to get a player from Las Cruces. Obviously, New Mexico gets 4 players from in the state, including a guy, Teton Saltis from Albuquerque, who I don't know if you got a chance to see his video. Just a tremendous motor. Was a guy that was recruited by a bunch of Pac-12 schools, had offers from Pac-12 schools, and he came out, and I think it's really fitting. He came out and said that he sees the progress that UNM is making, and he wanted to be a part of this team and the process of making UNM a championship football team. And I know you've seen it, but that's sort of the mentality that's changed, where people say, I want to be a part of not just building a program, but I want to be a part of a program that's winning. And that's something I think that you can see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also that defense is ferocious. You talk about the front 7, with the guys they've got coming back, Dakota Cox, the Kimmy Carsons, the Ryan Langfords. You want to team up with those guys and be able to make plays and Coach Cosgrove is going to bring the house. And if you're a guy like Teton Soft that is a pass rusher, a guy that can get to the QB, this fits for you right now. Why not stay in state and turn your home team into a champion?
Absolutely. Sid, as always, we appreciate it. You're a great friend of the program. You're a fantastic broadcaster. We love what you do over at Root Sports. Thanks so much for joining us on the Lobo NLI show.
Well, I love it, Frank. I appreciate all the hospitality always in Albuquerque, man. I really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right, fantastic. We'll be back with our final segment of the 2016 Lobo NLI show right after this. Back here in the 2016 Lobo NLI show, I want to thank everyone for watching today. I want to remind everyone, if you missed the show, you can watch the repeat on golobos.com. Also, we've got on the video page, we've got our video. We've got video highlights of every Lobo football player that was signed today, all 21. We've got bios, and we've got photos of everybody. Remember, you can follow Lobo football all year long on social media. Twitter is at New Mexico FB. We've also got great stuff on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and of course, all the Lobo highlights all year long. You can follow along on YouTube. I want to remind everyone about season tickets. If you want to get involved in Lobo football, there's no better way than to get your season tickets. 6 great games on slate for 2016, South Dakota, ULM, Nevada, San Jose State, as well as regional rivals and division rivals, Wyoming, and of course, Boise State University. 52 returners come back for the Lobo football team. 17 of those are starters, 10 of them on that vaunted defense. Tickets as low as $96 for brand new accounts. You can lock in your seats right now and never miss a thing of Lobo football. $96 is all you need to pay to get involved in Lobo football. Again, 6 great games. It's the second lowest price in the Mountain West. So make sure you get your season tickets. If you're a group and want to get involved in that as well, please come on out. Tickets start as low as $11 for groups of 25 or more. We've got great packages that include pregame tailgates, on-field experiences, and anything in between. Make sure you get your group tickets starting at $11. 25 or more is the group size. You want to contact Joe Gailing at 505-925-1620. I want to remind everyone, Bob Davies' press conference will show up later today at 3 o'clock. That'll also be on golobos.com. You can follow it anytime. For everyone involved with our show this afternoon, we thank you for tuning in and watching. This has been the 2016 Lobo NLI show. Have a good day.
This is just a start for us, and obviously we have to get better. But it's encouraging. It's encouraging just in the big picture part of it. The no back down of our team and the performance level of our team, to be quite honest. I think the best is still ahead.